Ladies and gentlemen, meine Damen und Herren, thank you very much for participating at this special virtual excursion to Germany today. This is the most important day in the course of the year for Germany, and I will tell you why. The Germans are an old people who stepped out into the light of history more than 1,000 years ago in Central Europe. And yet, we are one of the youngest states when it comes to gaining sovereignty and unity. This was only 31 years ago, and the older ones among us remember this well. Germany was divided at that time. Europe was divided at that time. And the world was divided at that time between a free world and a communist world, except for some countries who were smart enough to sneak out of that confrontation and became bloc-free. The division of the world went straight through Germany, and even Berlin, our capital, was divided by an unsurmountable wall. The east side of this wall was gray, but on the western side, artists came and they sprayed graffiti on it. It was pop art and it was also political art. Here in Kuala Lumpur, we have asked some artists also to reproduce this with a Malaysian touch. Please have a look. Yes, this is the wall of the residence of the German embassy in Kuala Lumpur. Now there was the wall in Berlin, but between East and West Germany there also was a 1,400 kilometer long border that was called the Death Stripe, with watchtowers, automatic firing systems and 1.3 million landmines. There are no exact figures, but estimates are that about 1,000 people lost their lives in attempts to cross this border. How did this happen? How did Germany become divided? This was the result of the Second World War, which was unleashed by a terror system reigning in Germany from 1933 to 1945, the National Socialist regime. They plunged the world into the most ferocious war ever, and when Germany was eventually defeated, the four victorious powers divided Germany into four zones. The American, the British and the French zones later became West Germany, and the Soviet zone became East Germany. Whilst West Germany was able to rebuild the economy very fast, that was called the economic miracle, East Germany became part of the Eastern Bloc and did not enjoy freedom, neither political nor economic. This division lasted for more than 40 years. And then, in 1989, a political miracle happened. The people in East Germany staged what later was called a Velvet Revolution, a revolution where no blood was shed. It was a revolution by the people, and their slogan reminded the communists of who was the true sovereign of the country. Wir sind das Volk. We are the people. Later, this slogan was changed to Wir sind ein Volk. We are one people. That was the cry for unity for the German people after 40 years of division. The wall crumbled, the cruel communist system in East Germany appeared somehow paralyzed and did not dare intervening, and East and West Germans embraced each other in joy. It truly was a moment of joy in history which does not have to offer many such moments. The wall in Berlin crumbled in 1989, and on October 3rd, 1990, Germany became officially united. We owe this to those who became our allies and friends, the Americans, the British and the French. But we also owe this to the Russians, a people who immensely suffered from the war and yet possessed the incredible generosity to let unification of Germany happen. I want to use this occasion to thank them, and also to thank the other European peoples who greatly suffered from the war but who decided to give to the Germans trust again, and who are now building up the European Union together with us. These events 30 years ago were not limited to Germany. They also triggered the fall of the Iron Curtain, which had gone through Central Europe and had divided the European people. They allowed the people in Central and Eastern Europe, as well as in Southeast Europe, to embrace the model of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law the European Union stands for. and eventually become members of the European Union. And these events, 30 years ago, even had repercussions around the globe. All of a sudden, some dictators, heretofore acting as well-behaving proxies in the Cold War, lost the support of their buddies of the Eastern or the Western Bloc, as they were no longer needed. And now they had to fear their people. But that's another story. The end of the Cold War, the end of dictatorships around the globe, and the transition of Central and Eastern European countries to democracy and the rule of law inspired great hopes at that time. Some people even thought that the end of history had come, that democracy and the rule of law would prevail all over the world. These hopes did not materialize. Over the last 30 years, we had to observe new lines of confrontation arising in the Middle East and in Ukraine, but also in this region, in the South China Sea. China has emerged to become a world power during the last 40 years and must be accommodated with an appropriate position in the international system. Ladies and gentlemen, so the international community is charged with new challenges. Germany's stance as part of the European Union on these challenges is very clear. We believe that we should not fall back into the antagonism of a Cold War. We believe in listening, dialogue, understanding, tolerance, and balancing. We believe in diffusing tensions before they become confrontational. We expect everyone to ponder about his or her contribution to a peaceful togetherness, to emphasize what we have in common and not what divides us, to show comity and goodwill. We strictly reject striving for domination, bullying, and hegemonic ambitions, and we will stand up against that. Our guideline is the rules-based international order, mandatory for all countries. In this stance, we believe ASEAN is meeting the EU and Germany is meeting Malaysia. And actually, we believe that this world has no time for audacious and dangerous power games. There are global challenges that we are all facing that weld us together as one world. Nothing has made that more obvious than the pandemic, which no country and no person could escape from. Often it has been said, and it is true, no one is safe until everyone is safe. In this regard, I cannot deny that we Germans are proud of a German company, BioNTech, which has developed a new and highly efficient vaccine deployed all around the globe. Also in Malaysia, a majority of persons has received BioNTech vaccinations. This now paves the way back into life, leaving us with the task to make it a better life than before. This will not be easy at all, because behind the pandemic, an even bigger threat to our life has built up over decades, and it is now looming above us: global warming. Climate change has brought about a change of weather patterns, droughts and floods, melting permafrost, and hazardous wildfires. The lives of hundreds of millions of people are already affected by climate change, and this might cause migration of an unprecedented scale. But the good news is that the fight against climate change is finally coming into gear now. And for Germany and Europe, I can say that enormous amounts of money are being made available for necessary countermeasures, for decarbonization, energy transition to renewables, and an energy-efficient economy, both private and public. And in this context, we should also mention our responsibility to leave to our children and grandchildren a world worth living in, preserving forests and jungles, and without plastic waste to be found everywhere, even on the depth of our oceans. Germany has committed herself to these goals in her cooperation with this region, with Southeast Asia, and our embassy is charged with realizing these tasks in this country, with Malaysia. Our government has issued her policy guidelines for the Indo-Pacific last year, outlining a broad array of issues we can work on together: multilateralism, climate change and protection of the environment, peace, security and stability, human rights and the rule of law, rules-based, fair and sustainable free trade, digital transformation, cultural, education, and science. And our embassy is bound to promote cooperation on all of these fields. My staff and I are excited to implement projects with the government and the people of Malaysia. We want to accomplish all of this in the wider frame of the European Union, which only very recently has also emphasized its commitment to the region by presenting a communication on the EU's Indo-Pacific strategy. Relations between Germany and Malaysia have always been warm and friendly, with a long tradition dating back to the 19th century. Germany was among the first countries to recognize Malaysia on the very day of independence. There have been many visits of our state and government leaders and ministers ever since. Malaysia and Germany might be far apart geographically, but they are close in interests and values, appreciating the benefits of multilateralism, a rules-based international order, and free trade, embedded in our respective alliances such as ASEAN and the EU. The elevation of relations between ASEAN and the EU to a strategic partnership, accomplished last December, will give both countries room to also strengthen their bilateral political cooperation on a strategic level. Now, the backbone of Malaysian-German relations has always been the economy. Germany is Malaysia's most important trade and investment partner in the EU, and vice versa. Malaysia is Germany's favorite trade and investment destination within ASEAN. More than 700 companies are operating in Malaysia and not only earning good money, but contributing to employment, know-how, and vocational training in this country. They are well represented here. The German Chamber for Commerce and Industry, 3 German business councils in Kuala Lumpur, Penang, and Johor Bahru, and the information service Germany Trade and Invest. They all facilitate the trade and investment relations and have done an excellent job helping companies get through the pandemic. A big thank you to all of them. The German-Malaysian Institute is promoting the German dual model of vocational training in Malaysia. And back in Germany, we have the Malaysian Roundtable, gathering companies interested in Malaysia in several German cities, and the Ostasien-Verein, which is an old and distinguished association of businessmen dealing with Asia in Germany. But there is also a thriving exchange of science, culture, education, and civil society between our two countries. The political foundations, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung and Friedrich Naumann Stiftung for Freedom, are conducting projects and seminars in the field of democracy, the rule of law, and human rights. The Goethe Institute, our cultural institute in Kuala Lumpur, brings artists of both countries together and is promoting the German language. The German Academic Exchange Service facilitates scientific exchange. We have more than 100 cooperation programs between universities, and more than 1,500 Malaysians are studying in Germany. There's a German school in KL, and 9 Malaysian schools are partner schools of Germany. A German-speaking society in Kuala Lumpur publishes a German magazine, the KL Post. The Malaysian-German Society in Penang promotes friendship between our two countries on that island. And there is a German alumni organization in Malaysia. NGOs of our two countries are conducting numerous projects in the field of human rights and social welfare. I would like to thank all the staff of these organizations who are truly intermediaries between our two countries for their valuable work. And I want to express my gratitude to the Malaysian government, to the Malaysian administration, and to our numerous Malaysian partners and friends in all segments of society for their help and friendship. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Germany is a land of music, and we would have loved to invite you tonight to a music party. But circumstances given, we have to postpone that to another date. But at least we would like to give you an impression of the diversity of German musical landscape, added by the flavor of a Malaysian artist. The national anthems of our two countries, you just heard, were presented to you by the Reinhold Quartet, comprising Dietrich Reinhold, Tobias Haupt, Dorothee Erbiner, and Norbert Tunze. They all play in the Gewandhaus Orchestra Leipzig, renowned in Germany and throughout the world. We thank all members of this quartet for sending this solemn musical salutation from Germany to Malaysia. And now you can listen to Alena Murang, who is a unique master of the sape, a lute instrument of the highland tribes of Borneo, preserving in her work the cultural heritage of these people, whilst also drawing from influences of world, rock and folk music. She will present to you two songs about togetherness, Liling and Permang Jai. Thank you so much, Alena, for this wonderful contribution. And finally, you can listen to two brilliant pianists from Germany. Axel Zwingenberger is the king of the world of boogie-woogie, thrilling his audiences with the hottest music ever invented for the 88 keys of a piano. Boogie-woogie is a music form developed in the United States in the 20s and the 30s of last century on the basis of African rhythms, and it was revived by Axel and a few others in the 70s in Hamburg, which now is the center of this music. Joja Wendt, an all-rounder on the piano, mastering everything from classic over jazz to rock and boogie-woogie. His music is so powerful that he has even been invited to one of the biggest heavy metal festivals in the world, in Wacken, Germany. Joja is called in Germany only the pianist. Please listen to the exciting music and have fun.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Alena Murang, the first professional female sape musician. This is the sape. I'm going to be sharing with you some songs today. And thank you so much for having me here at the German National Day. I heard that it's called the Day of German Unity, and it was preceded by the fall of the Berlin Wall, bringing unity to German people. And therefore, I would like to play for you today two songs, bringing to you the spirit of togetherness, which is also very important up in the Kelabit Highlands in Sarawak. And let's tear down all of the walls that divide us in life. Let us live together. Happy German Unity Day. So the first song that I'm going to share with you is called Pemung Jae. The word Pemung in itself means together. And this came from a time of peacemaking up in the highlands in along the Baram River. In the late 1800s, there was a lot of warfare amongst our people, and there came a time of peacemaking. And it was a very important time for us. And during this time also, a lot of songs came out. And this is one of the songs, Pemung Jae, a song about being together with my very, very, very true friends by the river under the moonlight.
Hey,
Thank you. That was a song in Kenyah language. And in Kenyah, also in Kalabit, we don't have a word for thank you. In Kenyah, we say tiga tawai, from the heart. The next song that I'm going to share with you is a song that everybody in the highlands of Sarawak would know. It's a song called Leleng. Some of you might know it. If you know it, please sing along because it's a very easy song to sing along to. And this is a song that we sing when we have a big gathering, and that can be thousands of people, and everybody will sing in unison. And this could be at a wedding or a meeting, a name-changing ceremony. This is a song called Leleng. Thank you so much once again for having me today. And once again, I wish for us all to break down the walls that divide us and to live in togetherness and to be in togetherness. Thank you.
Meine Damen und Herren, wir freuen uns sehr, hier zum Tag der deutschen Einheit, zumindest musikalisch, einen kleinen Beitrag zu leisten. Und für mich eine Riesenehre, mit einer absoluten Legende am Klavier, mit Axel Zwingenberger, überall auf der Welt, wo man über Boogie Woogie spricht, fällt sein Name. Ich freue mich sehr, dass er da ist. Axel, spiel los.
Joja, gerne.
Komm schnell hinterher. Gut. Den Strider, den C, den langen.
Okay. Gut.
Liebe Landsleute, vielen Dank noch einmal, dass Sie uns heute hier besucht haben. Ich wünsche Ihnen allen einen wunderschönen Tag der deutschen Einheit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us today. I wish you all a wonderful day of German unity. Tuan tuan dan puan puan, terima kasih sekali lagi kerana sudi bersama-sama dengan saya hari ini. Selamat hari penyatuan Jerman. Baru gaya largal, hanai varukum, vanakam. Ivinia nanalil, enodu, ine tamaiku, mikenandri. Endru Germanin, otromai, nal munitu, ungal anai varukum, enudaya, manamarnta, valtokal. Sien shang nu Sherman, Seize Gansienin, Xintian de San Yu. Ju da Jia, Joke, Yu Kwai, de Guatong Yi Je. Liebe Malaysia, lang lebe Deutschland. Long live Malaysia, long live Germany. Hidup Malaysia, hidup Republik Persekutuan Jerman. Malaysia, Vansui, de Gua, Fansui. Valka Malaysia, Germany, Valka.
Hey everyone! From the 4th till the 6th of October, we're going to have some super fun quizzes here on the Embassy's Facebook page. Make sure to join to get some super cool goodie bags. Have fun and viel Glück!